I'd like to take a little bit of your time to talk about how you're spending your time in this video. How's it going, reinventors? My name is Amelia Sims. This is Reinventing You, where you can be inspired to take your own reinventing journey so that you can live a life of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. I post twice a week, and if you have not, please subscribe today, and don't forget to click on the bell notification. Over the course of the summer, I read the book 168 Hours You Have More Time Than You Think by Laura Vanderkam. And there are a couple of ideas that she had that has been helpful for me, and I want to pass them along to you. Now, if you want to know more about Laura Vanderkam, you can go to her website, lauravanderkam.com, and get some more information there. And she does have the timetables? If you want to check that out and figure out how you're spending your time. So what does 168 hours have to do with anything? Well, that is how many hours that you have in a week. And you have the same amount of time that anybody else in the whole world. Okay, we all get the same amount of time. The question is, how do you spend it? Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, I work 70 to 80 hours a week. But do you really work that much? I want you to think of, if you're still working, whether it's from home or in an office, wherever you are, what do you spend your time doing at work? I just want you to think about it a minute. Do you spend every waking second at work actually working? How much time do you spend talking to your coworkers? I'm not calling it gossip. I'm just saying, how much time do you spend talking to your coworkers? Now, you can think this is work because I am getting along with the people that I have to, work on projects with. That's true, but if you're talking about what happened at your cousin's wedding over the weekend, that's probably not pertaining to your actual work. Another thing, if you work outside the home, even if you work inside the home, you've probably had at least one meeting this week. I want to know how many of you feel like every minute spent in that meeting that you were in was productive. How many times have you been in a meeting and come out of it thinking, we probably got 10 minutes worth of true work done while we spent about an hour and 50 minutes on nonsense or things that really have nothing to do with my particular responsibilities. Maybe you are sitting a lot at a desk, and sure, you have to do emails, you're answering phones, but how much of that time do you spend on Facebook? I remember, this is several years ago, I worked from an office where we had to do, I want to call it flex time, but we had to do where we had to work 4 days a week out of 5 days. And so it was not productive for me. I could do really well until about 4:30, and then my brain just shut down, and I had to be there till 6. I can tell you that's pretty much when Facebook was getting going. I spent a lot of time on Facebook. I guess these days I'd probably be on YouTube or Instagram. How much time do you spend when you're at work on social media? How much time do you spend combing through emails that have nothing to do with actually work? Are you actually working on a work email, or is it Walgreens ad, or is it some kind of sale that's going on at Macy's and you want to know, what things that you can buy? Be honest with yourself. How many hours do you actually work? That is part of Laura Vanderkam's book, as she is saying, a lot of us think we spend a whole bunch of time working when actually we are not working. We're not being productive. And the same can be true for those of us who are at home. When I'm at home, I have control of my time. I can decide what I want to do and when. When I started Laura's book, I sat down and tried to figure out my time. Now, if you go to her website, lauravanderkam.com, you can get 2 timetable breakdowns, either 30 minutes or 15 minutes. And I think when I did it, I just used a notebook and I just kept an hourly schedule of what I was doing every hour. And I would like to go back and do it again. And I can tell you in just a moment, I'll tell you what I realized I spent a lot of my time doing. But what she says is take an entire week and write down what you're doing during that week, whether it's 30-minute increments or 15-minute increments. She said, don't say to yourself, oh, this was not a typical week, you know, this happened or that happened. She said, you never have a typical week. Consider whatever happened during the week to be typical and go with what you have. Let me tell you, it's going to be eye-opening. And I just encourage you to go to her website and download one of those. And you really don't even have to do that. If you don't want to, take a notebook or an Excel spreadsheet and create your own. And when you're filling it out, as she said, act like you're an attorney and you've got billable hours or billable 30 minutes or billable 15-minute increments. And you have to account for everything that you're doing so that you can bill the person at the end of the week. Really sit down and write what you're doing. What are you spending your time on? Now, it was very eye-opening for me when I did this because I realized I spend a whole lot of time on nothing. I am not as productive as I think I am. Even though when I was doing bullet journaling and I was able to say, hey, this is what I accomplished during the day, it didn't take me 8 hours to do those tasks. I know and I realized after doing this that I spend a whole lot of time reading because that is like a pleasurable activity for me. And there's nothing wrong with reading. There are other, it's not my goal is not to read and finish so many books. My goals are different. And if I'm going to really work through my goals, and it doesn't mean I can't read, but it also means that I need to use the time that I have wisely. And in addition to reading, I do get on the internet a lot and look at social media. Now, sometimes it is YouTube videos or something that pertains to reinventing you, or maybe it's research for some kind of video series that I'm going to be doing. But other times, you know, even if I'm in the middle of research, I'll get distracted. You know, it's like, oh, look at that video. And that's what YouTube does for you. You know, you're on your page, you're watching, and your brain kind of drifts to the side and you're looking. And if you're on your phone, it's the same thing. You're watching the video, but then you start scrolling down to see, oh, what else is available? That is simply what happens, and you know it does. If you've got a goal in mind, if there's something that you want to work on, whether it has to do with your health or relationships or your career or hobbies or anything else, you have got to look at your time and use it wisely. I challenge you to keep track of your time either in 30-minute or 15-minute increments over the next week. And if you are willing to do that, in the comments below, please put time, and I will know that you're tracking your time. And if you can, come back later and let me know how you've spent your time or something that you realized that you were doing and you weren't aware of it. One of the other things that Laura Vanderkam does, and I love this idea, is that she says you should have a list of 100 things you want to do. And it's sort of like a bucket list, but not. It's like, what are some things that you want to accomplish? And it could be something so simple as learning how to bake creme brulee. It could be something like learning how to edit a video. It could be walking, increasing your walking from 2 miles to 3 miles. It could be increasing your vegetable intake every day. It could be spending more time with your new kitten. It could be any of those things. What are some of the things you want to sit down and write 100 dreams? And they don't have to be these huge things. They can be little things, big and small. What are some things that you would like to accomplish? And what she encourages you to do is to take, you know, your time every day and say, okay, well, how can I take my dreams and put those into my time? Now, a few videos ago, I said that I was going to start calendar blocking, and if you want to check out that video, it's up here, because I was not having very much success with bullet journaling, and I can tell you honestly, haven't done very well with calendar blocking. Like, you know, we all have the excuse, oh, we had this atypical summer. I need to get back to that. And one of the ways I'm doing that is looking at how I'm actually spending my time and reversing that and saying, okay, here's some things that I want to accomplish. How can I put that in my time and use my time wisely? If this video was helpful for you, you might enjoy some of the other videos that I have done, including this series of videos about money and this series of videos about how to deal with nosy people. Have a great one.